Often at times we look around and we see our people calling ourselves by the N word, calling our women by the B and H words, sagging our pants and glorifying pimps. And we're forced to ask ourselves, embarrassingly, is there something inherently wrong with us as a people? The collective ridiculous behaviors that are being exhibited amongst us is not because there's an inherent deficiency within us. It actually comes from surrendering our will to the influence of external forces that are covertly controlling us. This is not scapegoating. When people are stressed, overwhelmed, overworked, or are insecure financially, they become less likely to engage in thoughtful analysis. Instead, they turn to simple narratives that requires little intellectual effort. It's in these very moments that people are most susceptible to manipulation. This is when rational ignorance thinking takes hold. Once this happens, people can be made to believe the most ridiculous things. This is precisely what oppressive forces have done to the African American population, such as witnessed by the fact that although our ancestors hated the N-word, they've misled millions of us to believe that we made the N-word ours and that using it now ridiculously empowers us. Although black people have been reporting crimes to law enforcement officials ever since the abolishment of slavery, they told us that we have a no snitching policy. Many of us believed it was true and then stopped reporting crimes, which then makes conditions within our communities far worse. And although within most cultures men are raised to protect and revere their women, they've socialized millions of us to call our women by the B word and the H word. They also socialized millions of us to believe that it's cool and trendy to dress like sagging clowns and to glorify pimps. They also have millions of us believing that a Bible written by history's proven most ungodliest group of people contains the true words of God. They also have millions of us believing that a Bible that was brutally beaten into the blood-soaked minds of our enslaved ancestors will now ridiculously set us free. And they've got our people so mentally enslaved that pointing out how ridiculous these beliefs and practices are now literally offends millions. Many even makes enemies of anyone who tries to show them the truth. Therefore, millions have been programmed to literally function as wardens of their own mental prisons. The fact that we're able to do this to us is not because there's something inherently wrong with us, as some of you have been misled to believe. It's a human vulnerability that is being exploited, and it can be done to any racial group. Our core problem as black people is that most of us cannot see that our minds are being systematically manipulated to think in ways that serve the system of white supremacy. The hidden reality is that although most black people no longer experience the type of blatant white racism as our grandparents had experienced it, however, we are still experiencing it. White racism against black people is now deployed with much more sophistication. They are waging a covert war against us that most of us don't understand. It's so sophisticated that it's no longer easily recognized, nor is it easily comprehended by most of the black victims. White racism against black people always works best when the black victims no longer recognizes it. This is why those of us who know the truth must teach African proverb. The nefarious system that they've deployed against us is a nefarious social engineering scheme called cultural structural stupidity. It's when the dominant group exploits their monopoly over information that the targeted population receives by constantly feeding the targeted population idiotic ideologies. It's an offensive psychological warfare tactic that uses disinformation and misinformation to change the targeted population in ways that are against their own interests. It works by systematically feeding false idiotic ideologies to the targeted population. You then provide a national media platform to the ignorant ones among them that have accepted the idiotic ideologies, and you deny it from the intelligent ones that are speaking out against the idiotic ideologies. This allows the idiotic ideologies to prevail throughout the targeted population's communities. It prevails unchallenged. And this makes the ignorant ones overconfident, and it makes the intelligent ones self-doubting. And the intelligent one then becomes silent, thus allowing the idiotic beliefs to prevail, creating a culture of stupidity. Those idiotic ideologies will then become normalized. This is precisely what has been done to the African American culture by white oppressive forces. It's called negative media social engineering. This is the true reason why millions of African Americans now self-identify by the N-words and glorify pimps and thugs, and now calls our women by the B word and the H word and dresses like sagging clowns. These ridiculous, abnormal behaviors have become normalized, but there's nothing normal about any of this. Even intelligent people can be made to engage in ridiculous behaviors when everyone else around them are also doing the same thing. It's what's called the herd mentality. The herd mentality is the tendency for people's behaviors and beliefs, customs, and cultural norms to conform to those of the group they belong to, regardless of how ridiculously absurd they may be. We've been negatively socially engineered by white oppressive forces to think and behave as millions of us are now doing so. What millions of us now naively perceive as being our own created swagger are actually the result of negative social engineering by white oppressive forces. Many black people will have a hard time accepting this because many have been brainwashed to exclude the white society from all of our analysis in regards to our plight and condition, and to instead blame ourselves for everything. We've been made to believe that this is victim peddling to tell the truth. Brothers and sisters, time to wake up to our reality. The time of ignorance is over. One love and peace.